Welcome back. You're watching IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow, Season 11. We're bringing you our highlights from the recently concluded Mumbai Springboard, and this is our welfare segment. Listen in.
So, Rahul, if I could kick off the conversation with you. Whether justified or unjustified, India has long been branded as a country of savers, not a nation of investors. My question to you, is this perception fair? Is it accurate? Or is it long outdated? Your take, sir.
Numbers still suggest that we have a long way to go, but in the last 4 or 5 years, it's definitely changing now. Almost 2/3 of the money which people save in India go to your traditional liquid assets, which is cash, bank fixed deposits or savings accounts. About 20-23% goes to physical assets like gold and real estate, and then only 12% goes to really what we call in financial terms as investment options, which gives you better returns than inflation. But that number is changing in the last 4 or 5 years. If you see, I was reading recently, we have touched 17,000 crores of systematic investment plans into equity mutual funds, right? Which was hardly 3,000 or 4,000 crores 5-6 years back. So we have made tremendous progress, but we have a long way to go in that journey.
Well, absolutely. And, Rahul, if we do have a long way to go, I want to build on some of your observations and come to you now, Harsh. Because we harbor these lofty goals of widespread financial inclusion. And yet the reality is that there's a lot of hitchkichahat or inbuilt hesitation when it comes to discussing matters of money, even within the close confines of one's family and circle of friends. So what's the solution? How do we navigate, that clutter?
Pooja, you've asked a very sensitive question, I may say, because we're talking about a situation where you're going to talk, Indians do hesitate to discuss money within the families. Leave aside inheritance. So the moment you go up and walk to your elders and you tell them that will banaya kya,
Gee.
you know what kind of response you're going to get, right?
Bilkul.
So yes, it is true that we are hesitant to talk about personal finance issues, because if the lady of the house goes and says, ki, what are your investments, to the men of the house, they would say, why are you getting involved?
Right.
So these are real issues on the ground level. But the fact is that you need to talk about money with your family. You need to talk about inheritance. Okay, you need to talk about, why only talk about investing? Let's talk about even inheritance, which is an even more sensitive topic.
Please.
Okay, now many individuals even today believe that there is not going to be any disputes. I have just one child. Why do I need to make a will? Well, that's not true. You make a will for 2 reasons. One is to ensure that there is a smooth transition of assets that you built all your life to the next generation. When I say smooth, does not mean there has to be some dispute in the family. There are legal issues that you need to take care of. So if you're owning real estate, okay, then there is a reason why you need to have a will, get it probated, and then possibly the transfer will happen.
Absolutely.
Okay. The other reason that you will make is because you don't want disputes. Right. So disputes is the second reason that you would possibly be considering, but the first one has to be.
You're absolutely right, and these everyday examples truly help set the context. And speaking of everyday examples, Rahul, we're in a room full of entrepreneurs, and many of them face incredibly complex financial decision-making scenarios on a daily basis. Oftentimes, you see an entrepreneur struggling between sort of blurring the lines when it comes to personal cash flow and corporate cash flow. How does this make for a dangerous precedent, and what's the solution essentially?
So we've seen this in India. We have not only when you're starting a business, there is always going to be the funds are always very difficult, and you have to you are running on a shoestring budget. But I have seen in with my clients, even if they scale up, the business becomes large. Still, they don't separate business risk with personal wealth. Most of the families, they tend to club these two, and because they have illusion of control, they feel that since I'm running the business, there's nothing which can go wrong. Globally, most business families, once they reach a certain size, they separate personal wealth and business risk by moving personal assets or family assets into a trust, and that is managed separately. They carve out certain amount of money every year and move that so that the family doesn't suffer in case, God forbid, something happens to your business. But India, that is slowly coming in, but I think it's still, we have a long way to go.
Coming to you, Harsh. Earlier in the conversation, Rahul mentioned gold, you mentioned real estate, and gold and real estate have long been considered to be safe havens, right? Particularly in this country. And, in light of the recent volatility, while gold has surged, real estate has sort of dugmuggled, so to speak. I'd love your take on what's the rational course of behavior with these two asset classes in the current environment.
Well, Pooja, investors, by investors, we all tend to lean towards comfort.
Absolutely.
So anything that we are familiar with, we tend to naturally lean towards that and find that as to be a comfort area. So gold, real estate traditionally, historically has been simple products to understand. Okay. So anything which is complex, anything which is something which is new and I am not able to comprehend, I will naturally stay away from it. And that's the correct way. Our DNA has been structured that way. Imagine the first person on earth, the first human being on earth sees a lion and says wow and goes towards that lion. I mean, we just swallowed and we'll be done with, right? So we are inbuilt that anything unfamiliar, we are supposed to be careful and stay away. That's what keeps us alive, right? Otherwise we'll be dead by now. Now the difference between our comfort and discomfort is knowledge. Okay, we just need to upgrade our knowledge to that point wherein we understand the risk associated and then we go towards it. So if you ask me honestly, if you look at the history of gold, if I take from 1975 to 2023, which is about 48 years,
right?
I mean, in dollar terms, gold has given a return of 5% annualized. So that's how gold is growing in dollar terms. In INR terms, we've got about 10.4% in the same period. So is gold giving you 10.5% return? No.
Not quite.
So gold is giving you a return in absolute terms of 5% annualized, and with the forex, the rupee depreciating, giving you another 5.5%. Okay. And we believe that gold is doing great. No, that's not the case. Okay. Now, in terms of wealth creation, you have to ask yourself, if I really want to create wealth. So my objective is what? Why am I saving today, saying that I am sacrificing the use of this money today so that I can use it in future? That is what my objective is.
Absolutely.
So I'm saying I'm not going to use it today and I'm going to use it in future. It is important to understand whether what I could buy with that money today, does it retain its purchasing power 10-20 years down the line? If it does not retain its purchasing power 10-20 years down the line, then I might as well spend that money today. So if I'm investing in assets which are not growing or beating inflation by a great margin, I'm actually not making any sense in investing. I rather use that money today, spend it on my wife and make her feel happy. That will give me better returns.
My last question to both of our panelists, and I'll start with you, Harsh. We are 10 days away from a new calendar year, right? 2024 is upon us, and as working professionals, so many of us are considering giving ourselves a financial makeover of sorts. So what are some expert money moves to make in 2024, sir?
So it's actually very simple. There is nothing new that you need to do. Stick to the basics. Keep it simple. I mean, there's no better formula than keep things simple. Okay. So one is, of course, realize and respect the money that you're earning. Okay. It doesn't come free. So stop giving it to your relatives because somebody's become an insurance agent somewhere and your mama's son wants to be obliged. He or she hasn't worked in enabling you earn that money. So stop obliging people with your money. And I don't think you're being rude. So resolution 2024, one is that respect the hard work that you have put to earn that money. So stop giving it away free of charge.
All of you in the room, ladies and gentlemen, please give yourselves a round of applause.
Okay, the second thing you need to be careful about is, since you worked so hard at earning that money, okay, why would you invest in something which you don't understand and which doesn't make logical sense? Cryptocurrencies. I mean, I don't understand what is the basis of cryptocurrencies. I mean, those people who claim themselves to be experts, I try to sit down with them and try and understand as to what this is. And trust me, nobody knows who even founded it. So I don't know what is the product. So please respect your money. You work very hard for this. You make a lot of sacrifices. Not only your family makes those sacrifices to earn that money.
Firing words, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, Rahul, I'll give you the last word.
Okay, thank you. Just so most of the advice in the advice is very simple, and I'll try to correlate with whatever you asked with the health advice. But it's, when I say simple, it is not easy to follow. So in health, we have three things we do. Most of us don't do it, but if it three things we do, we will all be healthy. So one is sleep 8 hours a day, move a lot, and eat real food, but not much. Okay, but unfortunately, most of us don't do it. Similarly, in investments, you have three things which you should do. One is asset allocation, essentially buy different products. Then, so that will take care of the first rule. The second is buy good products, which is, I think, Mr. Roongta also highlighted that you don't be under pressure, but buy something which good products, and they should behave differently to each other. And the third is give them time. Don't expect them to work for you overnight. So that these three things are simple but not easy to follow, because when I see every day my portfolio, you tend to get worried. But largely these are the three things: asset allocation, buying good products, and giving them time.
Mr. Singh, Mr. Roongta, the way the both of you have just humanized this conversation around matters of money, I believe it deserves a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.